Today, I'm going to show you how to do a Yule wish spell and take a regular pine cone like this one and turn it into a Yule wish spell pine cone fire starter. Alright, so let's go over our supplies. First thing I'm going to mention is you will need some type of pot and water to make a double boiler, and then you'll need some type of melting pot to use inside it to create the double boiler aspect. You'll need your stove for melting the wax. You'll need some type of wax, which I'm going to just reuse these old candles, so I'll just melt them down, but you can buy just wax. You'll of course need your pine cone. This is just one I found outside, but in the past I have used the like cinnamon ones you buy like at the craft store or wherever it is you buy them. You'll need some type of wick. I have this one that I've had for a really long time, or you can use 100% cotton string like this. You will need some paper slips to write your wishes down on. I made mine about 1.25 inches this direction, and however wide this way you make them will determine how far they stick out of the pine cone. And then you can make them however long, and I have scissors in case my wish doesn't cover the whole thing and I want to cut it off so that it's not as long. You will need wax paper, a cupcake liner, or a paper plate. Alright, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is melt our wax. I have put my 2 candles in my little melting pot, and I'm going to put it in here to make a double boiler. One thing I did forget to mention is that you might want something to stir with. I'm just using this old chopstick. So now we'll let this melt. Now it's time to actually write down our wishes. So what I like to do is, instead of writing I wish for blah blah blah, I like to write it as if, like in the present tense, as if I already have it, because to me that makes manifestations and spell work come true. The universe understands that as you already have it, so I'm going to give it to you, rather than you're just hoping for it type thing. So I'm going to start here. And for ones like this where it doesn't take up the whole thing, I'm going to leave some so there's enough room to roll it, but I'm going to cut it off a bit. Step is going to be to wrap the wick around the pine cone. But in order to do that, we first need to turn this cotton string into an actual wick by dipping it in our wax. So I'm just going to set it in there, kind of stir it around with my stick in the wax so that it's fully coated. It may be a little hard to tell, but I have it coated in the wax except for about this much on the end so that I can hold it without getting my hands too waxy. Okay. So what we're going to want to do is take the wick and basically wrap it around like this and stick it down in there. So starting somewhere at the bottom, just kind of stick it in there good, and then start kind of wrapping it around. Now as you can see, it's not going really in there. It's kind of right on the outside. So I'm going to use my chopstick and kind of stick it down in there, so that it really stays good and in there. Okay, and then you just kind of keep wrapping it, going up as you go. It's easier to get it in there more once you get up in there a bit more, where the pine cone's more open than at the bottom. And you just want to get it toward the center of the pine cone. Wrap all up to the top. And then we're gonna leave a piece sticking out the top where it's gonna be like a wick to light it. So once we get up here, I'm gonna go around there a couple times. Then go like that. And then I'm gonna have some sticking out, which I will trim that. As you can see, I trimmed the end off some, and then I'm gonna kind of loop it down and put this part, kind of stick it back in there so that it's kind of like a loop, like that, at the top, sorry. Our next step is messing with these wishes. So you wanna take them each individually, and you're gonna have your wish, and you're gonna roll it toward you. You're bringing it toward you so that you're bringing in the intention. If you were to do it the other way and roll it away from you, you'd be getting rid of the intention. So you just roll it up, kind of tight. I mean, you want it to not be super loose. Okay, so once you have it rolled, I'm gonna take the end of it and dip it into the wax down here. And then quickly, while it's still wet, find a place in the pine cone and stick it in there. And the wax will kind of help it stick, and we'll get them to really stick real good in a bit. But we just want to continue on with that, taking them each, rolling them toward us, dipping them in the wax, and finding a spot for them inside the pine cone. I like to kind of space them all out in the pine cone evenly so that there's not a bunch all in one area. Dip it in the wax and stick it in the pine cone. Now my pine cone is full of the wishes, and the next step is to take some wax and pour it over it. So you can either just dump it like that, straight over the top, or you can kind of hold it and get it really in there good, which is kind of what I'm gonna do. And you wanna coat it good because that'll help it burn when you put it in the fire. Okay, I went ahead and put the wax that was there, took it off, and I remelted it. And I'm going again on my pine cone. Getting the bottom in there good in that puddle. Just making sure it's really good and coated. Now, here's our completed pine cone. Still a bit wet, but looks good overall. If you really wanted to, you could sprinkle some glitter on it while the wax is still wet. Personally, I prefer not to do this because glitter is basically just microplastics, and those are horrible for the environment, so I don't like messing with that. Now our pine cone is complete. So how you would use this is in a wood-burning fireplace, or you could use it in like a fire pit outside. You can't really use it in a gas fireplace, but you can use it as a fire starter. So you can use the wick here, light it, let it go, and help start all the logs in the fire on fire. I hope you'll try this spell. If you do, let me know how it works for you. I would love to hear about it, or if you've done it in the past, I'd love to hear. Thank you so much for watching. Have a happy day and a blessed Yule. Please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye.